Okay, the next section we're going to go over is the branch list. You create branches in this system to represent different entities that you may process files for. You can create different law offices, real estate offices. You can also use branches for different divisions in your company, whether it's a loan mod division or short sale division. It's up to you if that's how you want to segregate your files. The main thing you want to think about, though, is every file has to be linked to a branch and, of course, to an agent. So agents live underneath the branches, and so you can have multiple agents underneath any one of these branches. The branch list we're looking at shows you, the name of the branch. It shows you their passwords. You can edit the branch. You can disable the logins, and also deactivate the branch as well. Over here you have number of files that the branch has, how many times they've logged in, and how many agents they have underneath them. Now when you open up the branch, you can actually edit the details and permissions of the branch. And very important, you have which services you want to have enabled for the branch. These services here represent what this particular entity does, what type of services they offer. These are only available based off what you enabled in the main company settings. So when you come over here to the main company profile, you'll see that you want to enable the services globally. So some branches may not have all these services, but the ones that, when you go to the branch profile, you can enable the specific services that that branch does right here. Okay? And then this shows up in the web form when clients are submitting online through the web form, which we're going to show in more detail in this tutorial. All this is your basic contact information. You can actually have a different logo for this branch if you choose. Moving to the permissions, you'll see that you can follow the company settings for enabling the edit file permission. To reiterate, company settings go under the primary file status, and these are your main company settings for each individual status. So let's give you a specific example. If a file is under pending QC, quality control, you can allow the branch to update and edit files under this status, yes or no. So you can do that individual for each status. And then when you go here, you can tell the system, just follow those settings that we already created. Or you can override that and say, no matter what, let them edit the file. Or no matter what, don't let them edit the file. And you're talking specifically about this one branch profile. Okay? The next setting is, would you like to allow this branch to update the admin section of the file? That relates to changing the file's status and substatus and assigning the file to different employees. Do you want to allow them to do that? Yes or no? The next one is, do you want to allow this branch to access docs under any status? Sometimes you want to restrict access to certain documents, and that follows, again, the PC settings, those certain statuses that they're allowed to access the docs. So, a branch might not be able to send out a retainer agreement, if it hasn't been approved by somebody in senior management. So that's the purpose of that setting. You can also enable their rights to see the commission section and the billing section of the file. Then you have the ability to control on or off the agent login. So when this branch guy logs in, can he activate the logins for their agents? Because that does count against the main account's number of licenses allowed. So that's something you can turn on or off. Can they edit the agent's profiles? Usually that would be a yes. They can edit the details of their agents. Are they allowed to log in? Yes or no? Are they allowed? There's a feature that says allowed to add new agents in the long or short iframe. Those are your web forms. Let me show you an example of what that web form looks like. Okay, this is an example of the web form that belongs to a branch, and right here is the Add New Agent button. So when an agent comes to your website to fill out this form and they're not active in your system, they can create a new profile for themselves and it automatically creates an agent profile in the system, and then they can create the new client scenario. These other permission settings down here, allowed to create file, create tasks, see the dashboard. Those are all on-off switches that restrict their ability to do those items. Allowed to see private notes. If you don't want them to see private notes, that's regarding the note section. So certain notes are created, they're either private or public. If they're not allowed to see private notes, then they won't see those type of notes in the note history. Moving on, allowed to delete or replace uploaded docs. That's controlling their ability to edit and remove certain documents that were already uploaded by other users. Allowed to edit, delete their own notes. That's a restrictive permission. You can turn that on or off. Permission to submit to REST. That's that automated decisioning engine that we have built in that costs money to run, so you might want to turn that off if they're not trained on how to use that. Allowed to export Excel reports, so when they're in their own pipeline, do you want them to be able to generate their own reports and export the data into Excel? Again, I'll show you that right here. This is your pipeline. The branch manager will log in. They'll see all these drop downs to search and sort their files, and then they have the option to click on the Excel icon and export details on their search query, and they can export, you know, hundreds of fields to create a very detailed report. Again, that's an on-off permission. And this item here, allowed to send homeowner link to real-time updates. That's a private label feature, and that's basically a way to let their homeowners log in to see the status of their file. If you want them to use their own email settings, that's recommended if you want them to you know, when you're sending email correspondence to a homeowner, to any of the other affiliates or agents, it'll reflect from the actual user's email up here. So whatever their email is up here, it'll use those credentials and send from that email server, versus our email server, which shows, you know, info@lossmitigationsoftware.com. The next item here, new lead and notification handling. So the emails that go to and from, you can actually have other people notified when a lead comes in, and it'll be either the BCC or the CCC. And then our login URL, you can control when you send out different logins through the system. It knows to link to that special URL where you have your web form set up and the login portal set up on your website. These HTML codes down here, these represent the web forms. We have several versions of our web forms. I showed you one here, which is multiple tabs. It's several pages long. It's the most in-depth one that we have. This allows the homeowner to submit online, or the agent or affiliates that are working with the branch to submit all the details of a file. We also have a short version. So if I open that short version up, you can see that it's just a one-page form. Now, this is a link, a URL link that you can send right here. Here's the URL link. You can send that, and it's a live functioning URL. Now, if you want the HTML uploaded on a website, and let me show you what that looks like once it's uploaded properly. Okay, so here's a website, and the frame was installed properly, so you can see that now you're on the website and you can upload a scenario through the web form. So this is iframe technology. It's HTML code that's embedded in the website, and I'll show you guys how to do that, so you and your webmasters will be able to move forward and upload your own iframe code to your own website. Let's go ahead and show you how that works. Okay, step one, copy where the beginning HTML code is. So from iframe to the end of the iframe, you copy that. Open up a notepad, paste it in there, save as, and then you just name this however you want this to be on your URL address. So I would call this web form for loan mod submission. .html is the name that you want to save it, not a txt, a .html. You click save. Okay, so once you have that HTML file saved, you would go to, this is my backend hosting panel, and then you can upload a file. Just choose the file that you want to upload, and that's it. Once you upload the file, it shows publicly on your address, in your URL address. Okay, so I just showed you how to upload the HTML file to your website, which would basically give you your address slash, the web form loanmod.html. That would be a live link that you could use with your clients. Now, to make sure it's embedded inside of what's called the website CSS, every website's designed different. Some of you may have a turnkey website that comes with a back-end editor that you can install the HTML iframe. There's many different ways to do it, so I probably can't teach you, in one shot how to do it for every single website. So more than likely you'll need a webmaster guy to help you, or we can help you depending on what type of website you have installed. Okay, moving forward to the next tab of your branch profile is the docs and settings. This area allows you to enable and disable documents that are globally available for all your branches by just checking off the ones that you want live. Now, these documents are available when you have a client file and it's linked to this branch. So if you know you have a branch that you're doing loan mods for, you may not want the short sale one. So you can just uncheck all of them, and then you don't have to worry about them being available for any of your staff members, adding a little confusion. So that way, it's all just loan mod related items. So you can check off the ones that you need and uncheck the ones you don't need. And if you've created any custom documents, this is where you would enable them for this particular branch. Okay? And the self-made ones are the ones that you use the dynamic document wizard tool, which we'll get into in another video, in the video section. This tab here represents upload documents. You can upload different documents that you want available for your staff to use, and you can actually publish them to the web forms. So when your clients or agents or affiliates are submitting online through the web form, for example, right here is a sample category right here, useful documents, and then you can click on these links that open up the uploaded documents. Now these are not dynamic, meaning they won't pre-fill. They're just documents that you want available during the submission process, and then you can also publish them just to the back end of the system, which would be, when you're inside of a client file and you go to the Docs tab, you'll see that there's a category, branch documents right here. This is where they would show up. So if you want to upload documents that are available for certain branches, they show up here. The legal contract section is just like a little legal agreement builder, if you will. It's already, follows a decent layout where you can customize all the different paragraphs of your legal agreement, and it dynamically populates up here the client property address, the loan number, the client name, and just basically generates a basic looking contract. Here's what it basically looks like. It has your logo, it has your footer, and all the terms in the middle are created by you in that editor tool right here. Each box represents a new paragraph. And the last tab here in the branch profile is your referral source, and you can track different referral sources as they come in, so you can see where your marketing dollars are being spent and where your ROI is. So you can track Google, radio ads, or maybe you have different affiliate partners that you want to track. You can add them all here. Just create them here, create the display order, and then this option here, you can turn it on or off, is where it shows up on the web form. So in this example, how did you hear about us? You can check off one of the referral sources right here. Okay?